What's up, everyone? Tag a friend and let them know we're about to get into it.
Welcome to the Speak Her podcast with your host, Camille Essick, the podcast where creators and innovators connect. Let's get started.
The world can be a circus, wrangling, watching the world spinning around, dizzy. This is the place to excel, sit down, a place to listen, a place to take in.
Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm your co-host Jonathan. Camille will be here shortly. Before we begin, be sure to hit that notification bell and subscribe.
Keep the Speaker podcast ad-free. Scan the QR code and buy me a coffee. Your support keeps us ad-free as we continue to bring you conversations impacting the community and the culture.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Please share this and tag a friend who needs to hear this.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. It's Camille Essick. I'm host of the Speaker Podcast. This is the podcast where innovators and creators connect. What I need you to do right now is hit that notification bell and subscribe. We're across all platforms such as iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora. And tonight is super special. Reason being is because we are now at 185 episodes streaming. So I'm super excited about that. We're streaming across multiple countries, cities, states. And I want to take a moment just to say thank you. I know a lot of the larger markets always get a shout out, like Dallas, LA, Chicago, New York, but also some of the smaller towns such as Columbia, South Carolina, Jackson, Tennessee, also smaller towns like Pensacola, Florida, and the list goes on. Without further ado, my sister friend is here, the one and only amazing ADELIA Johnson. She is back.
Glad to be back, and I'm not distracted. I'm actually liking and sharing, as you should be doing.
Thank you. The one guest that does what they're supposed to do. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm doing it right now. I'm dropping in the texts, the group chats, and everything.
I love all of that. See, that's why you're invited back, friend.
Thank you.
Yeah. So going into tonight's conversation, I know who you are. There may be, since you've been here, we continue to grow. We're over 14,000 downloads somewhere now. I think it's 13,000 now. So for those that are new, let the people know a little bit about who you are and what you do.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. I am so excited and thrilled to be a family member of the Speak Her podcast. My name is ADELIA Johnson, and just a little bit about me. I am a licensed therapist. I am a graduate from Clark Atlanta University. I'm an Atlanta native. I just love all things Camille. I love her award-winning podcast. I'm looking forward to the red carpet whenever that comes. So as you can tell, I'm also just a lover of people, and I love celebrating my sisters. I love watching them grow, watching them expand. I do host a conference called the Sister Hype Squad Experience, and we will be hosting it again in 2027. So I'm rather excited about that. I am an author. I am a social worker. I am a mental health advocate. I'm a lot of things, and I thank God because He's the reason why I'm all of those things.
And what she said. And one more thing before we get really off into this conversation, I definitely want to make sure I extend my gratitude. And the reason being is because with this podcast, what started as just a vision, it continues to grow into conversations and connections. Now with music on title, storytelling, healing journeys, creativity, and just community across, the world. So what I do want to say is for every guest, every stream, every late night edition, all the edits, staying up late, getting up early, every session, every restart into like every listener, all of it really matters. And as we continue to grow, it's because of people like you, people like ADELIA that continue to, inspire and challenge and heal and create the space for transparency. So in this lane of just us, not just saying, oh, what's a 185 episodes, which is a big deal, but it's bigger than that. It's about consistency. It's about faith. It's about creativity, growth, evolution, and obedience, because this is not what I plan to do. I had my lash brand. I was not trying to do this. And God was like, do what I said. And I was like, okay. And then also just about honesty. So we're just getting started. So again, thank you to every city, guest, country, supporter, listener that continues to grow with me, because the vision is still expanding. So now that I got that out of the way, I hope I said that pretty okay.
Absolutely wonderful.
Thank you for tuning in. So the heart of this conversation, Adelia, I want to ask you, we've seen a lot over the last month, this whole deal with ethics and mental health, particularly towards a particular person. And so I was like, we really need to have a conversation about this. So the first question I want to ask you is, why does having a license as a therapist, why does that really matter?
Well, the first thing I will say is that it matters so you won't go to jail. So let's start there. Number two, it's illegal to practice therapy and you're not licensed. Number three, the reason why you need a license is because you need a certain skill set. The goal of being a licensed therapist is to keep the overall population safe. Not just from themselves, if they think, if someone is thinking about self-harm or anything like that, but also from the other people. And so if someone presents a threat to society or a threat to, bless you, to the general population, you have to be skilled to talk people out of crisis. You have to be skilled to de-escalate. You have to be skilled to emotionally stabilize people. And to give them hope, and to we're dealing with very vulnerable and fragile hearts and minds and emotions and people, broken people. And so it's important that you have the proper credentials that give you a license and permission to handle the general public in that way.
Yeah. And I think too, also, and correct me if I'm wrong, just with the malpractice, the lawsuits in civil court, because if you're not licensed, you're not covered. It protecting the person, but it protects you as well. Because what if you give advice or some type of guidance situation, and it does result in self-harm, and the family decides they want to comfort you and support? There's a liability because you were not licensed.
And even if you are licensed, I have malpractice insurance. Even if you are licensed, you can be the greatest therapist in the world. I don't care how wonderful you are or how well renowned you are. Insurance matters as well. So not just the license, but also insurance to protect yourself. Because remember, we are dealing with not everyone has a severe mental health diagnosis. However, we do deal with populations that do have diagnosis that can create some issues within your practice, or because of the way they see things, or because of the way they interpret things. And so it's just better just to protect yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And then
birthday, by the
way. Yes, hey Angie, Auntie, and happy birthday. Our birthday was yesterday.
Yep.
Yesterday, happy birthday. Yes. Don't get me started, because I get the hey girl.
Hey girl, hey.
Yeah. So in that, just getting back to the conversation as far as with that, with the ethics behind it, the ethos behind it. So we've heard this whole spiel about Cheyenne Bryant, right? And that's kind of what prompted me. And what was so interesting, and we were having this conversation before that kind of went viral.
Right.
But I was like, well, we just need to go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah.
And so in those spaces where, particularly within our community, the Black community, members of our community are already reluctant to go because of historically the stigma. And then you add church on top of that, which makes the stigma even that much more magnified.
Right.
So when you have these concerns, and then you have harmful conversation, harmful narratives, it has that tone of, see, that's why I didn't want to go to a therapist. And we have to kind of say, just like in any space, you may have bad doctors, bad dentists, bad cardio, but that you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, right?
Right, absolutely.
And so how can you, to listeners and viewers, kind of reiterate the message of, yes, this is one of those cases, just like you have bad preachers. Oh, that's why I don't go to church. All those things are still necessary. So Adelia, can you kind of convey to listeners and viewers, yes, this is a situation, it's sparking conversation,
Yes.
but how mental health in our community is still a necessity?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So what I will say is this, like you mentioned, which I think was a fabulous point. With any profession, anything that you do, there's going to be imposters. Let me say that. Okay. Now I'm not calling anybody names. I'm not referencing anyone in particular. What I am saying is that I think with every profession there are imposters, right? There are people at work that should not have the job that they have, and they frustrate you every single day, but you are not quitting your job because you feel like the people there are imposters or aren't properly qualified, right? And so I would say, just for the same as you need your job for employment and to pay your bills, mental health, and I'm also, let me say this, I'm not saying everyone needs a therapist.
Right.
But what I am saying is that there has been such an increase in unfortunately completed suicides with African Americans, Black men, Black children. When once upon a time those statistics were completely unheard of, at least in the African American community, right? And so what I will say is finding quality help matters. And do not allow one experience or one person deter you from getting the help that you need. Now, I will also say this. Let me empower, the people. When it comes to searching for a mental health person, advocate, therapist, whatever, it's important to not only check their credentials, which you can do on the secretary, on your state's Secretary of State website. You can check and see if their license is legit. You can check and see if they're actually licensed in their state. You can check and see if they have any infractions against them. So I would encourage and admonish for people to do their research on who they are choosing. I know we just want to, maybe sometimes we want to rush and hurry up and start seeing somebody, but it's really important to do a vetting process. You may not be paying out of pocket, and you may be paying with your insurance or whatever the case may be, but you have to vet these people. Finding the right therapist is like finding the right dress, the right shoes, the right fit. Like, you got to make sure that everything is in order. And so, even with me, there are some clients that I get, we don't mix well. And so I'm never offended. Matter of fact, this is always in my intake. I'm never offended if you have to go find somebody else that will meet the needs that you require. But I would encourage to not turn away from the profession because of a few bad apples. What I will say is just do your research so that you can get the information that you need so you can make an informed decision.
Absolutely. One of the things I want to ask you, and maybe this is, you kind of touched on the vetting process, and with the insurance, a lot of companies now, they have the EAP program where you get 7 to 10 free sessions, and that's a good way to kind of vet without having to pay out of pocket too. And I've always said, searching for a therapist is like dating. You're not going to just tell all your business on the first date, right? You're just going to fill them out, get to know you. Some people jump in, like you said, if they are just ready. But for the most part, most of them do want to kind of see, like, do we gel? Do we mesh? How's this working out? Because you do want to have a space of comfort, with that person. And so, and what's this, 2016? So I guess it was 2014. And it wasn't that anything was bad, but sometimes you just want to check in, get some things off your chest. And I was doing like a vetting process. And in the first session with the lady I was with, her just questions I was asking her to see if she was a good fit for me. She was very defensive and did not want to answer those questions.
Wow.
And I kept asking the questions like, well, this is important to me, and she kind of finally answered the question very abruptly. In my mind, I thought, you're not for me, And I think it was more so once she realized, oh, this is easily paid through my insurance. And it was like it would have been easy money for her. And I
Yeah.
was just like, and I just said, no, thank you.
Right.
So that is very, very important.
Mm.
What is something that you feel men, particularly Black men, need to understand with therapy? Because we hear a lot of women, discuss it, Azealia, but I've noticed recently we are seeing more of our brothers kind of step out into that space and say, you know what, maybe I do need to talk to someone,
Yeah.
and so what do you say to them that may be questioning or even wondering if that's something they just really want to kind of jump off the porch with?
Okay. Number one, I want to say I'm sorry that you had that experience. And I'm glad that you were mature enough to just say, okay, I understand that not all therapists are like this. That was an ego problem. And the session wasn't the whole thing wasn't about you. It was about them. And so again, I'm sorry about that. That irks me actually because one of my values with my practice is not about me. It's about the client. And so if the client is asking you questions, then you do what you need to do to make them comfortable. So I'll say that starting off with that actually. So with Black men, as they're even vetting, and determining if they even want to go to therapy, because Black men, they say a lot without saying anything. I actually wrote a book about that called Black Men, I'm Listening.
Wow.
Because it was birthed out of a conversation with this young man that I met ninth grade year. And every time I saw him, I offered my space to him, my office to him. He did not come to me until senior year. And when he came to me, I was on my way out of the door, Camille, and he poured his heart out for 2 hours. And you know what I did? I said nothing. I let him talk. I let him vent. I let him pour. And he needed that space. And so what I will say is it's okay for, Black men to ask for that. Hey, I don't know what I'm really getting into as far as therapy, just to give them some vocabulary, right? I don't know what I'm necessarily getting into as far as this therapy thing, but I just kind of need you to listen. Or if I don't have a lot to say, ask me some prompting questions. And so I think it's important for Black men to have a safe space. I think personally, anytime a Black man opens up, that space is sacred. And I mean sacred. You don't go and run and tell his business. You don't use it against him. You do not weaponize what he shared against him, even in future sessions. Because I know, unfortunately, some Black men don't feel safe with Black women therapists because numerous reasons. But one of the primary things is not feeling safe. And feeling somewhat emasculated. And so I think for Black men, it's very, very important that as they're vetting who they should see, or if they should see anyone, that they should lift their concerns first. They can go into it lifting their concerns, and that'll tell you a lot as well. Because if they become defensive and they're like, oh, why are you asking me all these questions? Or they're becoming abrupt or cutting them off, that'll tell you right there that you don't need to return back to them. And so, so it's really, really, I just want to encourage Black men that as they're determining on if they want to go to therapy, please know that there's someone out there for you that will support you in your healing journey. June is actually Men's Mental Health Month. And so I would even, just start by researching what therapy is. What is it like? Look at some, well, not everything on YouTube is legit, but, or okay, or accurate, but ask questions, ask your community of people, talk to other men that have gone to therapy and have had positive experiences. That's where community comes from.
Absolutely. And I like that you talked about weaponization, and that's something I discuss here on the podcast in that corner of, well, not a corner, but a component of the Speaker Podcast, Heart and Soul, where we open the doors to speak to Black men. We have panel discussions, we have micro panel discussions, one-on-one conversations, just because I feel that it is so important for our brothers to have a safe space, a whole space for them to talk. And I do my best and to open those doors, be an ear and here to learn, not just for me, but the other women, the rest of us in the community, just because
Yeah.
I feel like when they are better, we are better. And if we're better as a whole, we are all better as a community.
Agreed.
And one of the things I have learned in these few years doing it, weaponization, it's a big deal. And the reason why a lot of men do not want to open up is because um we have it being thrown in your face.
Yeah.
And they, even if you apologize and they accept your apology, in the back of their mind, they're like, I will never um
And it only takes one time.
all it takes one time, one offense. And I feel like you lose a piece of him when you do that.
Oh,
And
yes.
he may stay in the gym a little longer. He may stay in the shower a little bit longer. He
Mm-hmm.
may go to the store more often,
Yep.
and ride around the block, He may
Yep.
come home and sit in the garage or the driveway a little bit longer because since he can't come to you, it's going somewhere else. He may be on the lawnmower a little bit longer, or he
Yep.
might end up talking to a female counterpart at work. And that's how people get work spouses,
Yep.
because
Exactly.
now you've opened the door because you're no longer a safe space. So you might be getting 90% of him somewhere, but 10% is going somewhere else. And then
Yep.
you're wondering, like, babe, what's wrong? Or hey, friend, what's wrong? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
good. Nothing,
Whew. Now, you don't want to get hit with the "Hey, I'm good."
Yeah. Yeah.
That is not what you want at
It's
all.
not good. And so that's why that matters. And thank you. Hey Reese, I see she's in here. We have to shout Reese out. We met in the Navy. She just was commissioned as an officer. So we just want to shout out, give her congratulations.
Hey, congratulations, girl.
Absolutely. So as we turn the corner in this conversation, what is one thing that you've learned outside of we talked about the weaponization, something else that you've learned because you have a son and
Yeah.
things you see in him as he's growing into manhood in those spaces as far as talking to him, maybe preparing him, and maybe so this is for even our single moms and our moms too, preparing raising those young sons. So if which they probably will encounter someone like this, but don't let this blanket your entire experience
Yeah.
with women from the community and just how to navigate the emotional side of life growing into manhood.
Yeah, absolutely. Interestingly enough, my son and I was having a conversation today, and Pastor. Well, let me lead with this. I am a member of Spirit and Truth Church, okay? And so my amazing pastor was teaching Bible study last week, and there was some information, or I think some insight that he shared as far as men are concerned, and about men not being lazy. And my son really took that to heart, like took it to heart. Like he heard everything pastor said, and you would never think that he caught all of that, but he caught it all, because he said something today that that made me proud. Actually, he said him and my aunt went out to eat, and he said that he wished he could have paid for her meal. And I said, and that's beautiful, and I love that. But I can see that was messing with him mentally, right? As a young man, we have to give permission for our young men to feel the feels, express how they feel, and not negate how they feel. I didn't want to just shut him down and just be like, "Oh boy, yeah, you ain't got to worry about that," or anything like that. What I did share with him was, listen, you're establishing yourself, all right? God is ordering your steps. You will get there. Just don't ever lose sight of that desire. Don't lose sight of that moral of taking care of your elder, right? Or wanting to pay, or be kind. Don't lose sight of that. And so what I will say to young men, especially in this particular space, is don't lose sight of who you want to be. You will become that, but it takes time. And if you're going to see somebody, see somebody that's going to encourage your journey, that's going to support your journey. If we have time, I would love to read a bit of an excerpt, actually,
Okay.
from the book that's standing out to me.
Mhm.
But yeah, for these young men, they need to feel safe, because some of them have mothers, sisters. They grew up in a house full of women, and they have been completely emotionally violated. And so
Let's talk about it. Let's have the conversation.
yeah.
I think it's important that we kind of air that out. And in that, just from what, I'm not a parent, but what from I observed is some mothers treat their sons like a boyfriend or their man and not their son, and not preparing them. But in those spaces, particularly when there are women, it could be a single mom situation like yourself, or multiple women and experiencing emotional violation. So let's unpack it.
Yeah, absolutely. So so I have, had the honor of being the social worker to some amazing young men whose mothers, unfortunately, they just didn't have the capacity. And it's no judgment, it's no slight. It's just sometimes some people just do not have the capacity. Some of these mothers were strippers. Some of these mothers were on drugs. And so they didn't know how to feel about women. They were completely confused. Do I respect them or what? Because I see that you're this during the day. You're a teacher, you're a social worker, you're whatever in the building. But then I don't know what you go home and do. And so it creates this level of confusion for them that, they don't know who's safe. And so now they go into these different spaces, whether it be work, school, wherever, and they're not sure who they can trust. And so sometimes it warrants negative behavior where now they're kind of lashing out at women or speaking badly about women or disrespecting women and kind of jumping ahead of it. So instead of allowing a woman to, to show, hey, I'm classy, I'm respectable, whatever, they immediately jump to this, I'm going to treat you how I assume every woman is. And so my heart really breaks especially for Black men that have grown up. They are now adults and they are now married and they have mommy issues.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you believe that's why we have seen the rise of many of these toxic voices in the space of social media and podcasting, with red pill, blue pill, some of the commentary that I've noticed as far as I feel like everyone doesn't need a microphone, but everyone has a phone. And we hear a lot of harmful rhetoric, a lot of misinformation, and the tone, what I hear behind it sounds like a broken little boy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The undercurrent. Now the ocean is an ocean of disrespect.
It is a tsunami.
A tsunami. Do you hear me? The undercurrent of that is brokenness. The undercurrent of that is a desire to be accepted. The undercurrent of that is rejection. And so you just putting out content that you probably don't even really believe. You just getting likes and shares and the boys are dapping you up. But because you don't know how to have a positive relationship with positive men, you end up with the grimy ones, right? And so now it becomes this it becomes this boys club that, because of their own insecurity and trauma, you don't have a good thing to say about women and your ideas, their ideas about women completely misconstrued. Sometimes it's a bandwagon thing. And what I mean by that is sometimes they don't know what they believe. They have no idea. They're going with whatever the culture is going with, or whatever is getting the views, whatever getting the likes. And for some people, chaos attracts attention. You know that. So you just out here being a regular stitch, just wreaking havoc.
So what about the lack of male leadership in their life, positive male leadership, to kind of guide some of that psychology, that pathology in the developmental stages? I also think about, you mentioned earlier about what they saw growing up, and for women that are raising sons, daughters too, but particularly in this context of the conversation, sons, they're watching and listening more than you realize.
Oh, yeah.
And if you have a new uncle every other month, every 2 weeks, if you are going out to eat with different people just for dinner, you really don't have any interest, because when you're on your phone talking to your friends, they're listening,
Right.
you know. But then on the other side, there's like a reward system, gamification, that he's getting D's, he's not passing his grades, he's being disrespectful, but yet you still reward him with flat screens and Jordans and, you know, and it's like, no matter what he does, that's still my baby, you know?
Yeah.
And so what messaging as a culmination giving that to him when he's off in the world, and it's like, well, my mom let me do it, but now I meet this young lady and her standard is different. Now there's some type of internal conflict, and now you're blaming women because your template is what you got at home.
Right. What I will say to that is no is a very powerful word. And sometimes we have to let our boys earn their keep.
But okay, wait. Let's unpack that. Because you see online, that's my son, that's my baby. You know, it's let's go down the rabbit hole.
But to a certain point, to a certain degree, to a certain age, like, and I keep going back to Bible study because it was so good. But up until a certain age, it's cute. Oh, the little baby, I don't know, you know, walking in the room a mess. At 34, that's no longer cute. And so we have to understand that some of these men, unfortunately, are underdeveloped. I think that's the word. I'm going to say that. Underdeveloped. Hey, Olivia. They're underdeveloped, unfortunately, because they have been enabled, right? They have not had real responsibility. And the that come on, Minister Pam, is not cute. But they have been enabled by now. Let me also say this. Some of these single mothers are lonely. That's all they have. And so you give him everything so he won't go anywhere. It's like a carrot. Like, let me just keep you here. Right?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let's run this back, because I want to make sure they are really getting this. So you're saying, just say it again for the people in the back, because I really and this is not to bash moms and single moms, sons, but this is a reality within the community, and Absolutely. We need to have this conversation. So can you kind of take us slowly down this street, please?
Sure. So some single mothers now, and also let me say this, because I don't want anybody, and people are going to feel how they feel, but the intent, let me talk about that. Hallelujah. The intent behind my words is not to harm, it's not to hurt or bash. It is to bring forth to light behavior and unconscious decisions sometimes that we make that we don't recognize. It's patterns. You pay attention to patterns. And so for some single mothers, their sons, their children, whatever, is all they have. It is their world. Okay. And so it's almost like, no, you don't do anything around the house. No, you don't contribute in any way to this home community right here. But I'm going to make it real comfortable for you so you will not go anywhere. Because it's really not about you. I don't want you to leave me. Because you've been my world for so long. And so if you go somewhere, it's like taking my comfort item. But that really, really, really hinders the growth of young men and young ladies, but specifically for our boys and our men to grow up and think that a woman is supposed to take care of you. No, sir. No. I have not always had it perfect. Can I share a little bit about my walk? I'm a single mama. Okay.
Testify.
Hallelujah. Now, only by the grace of God, let me be very clear. I never embraced the let me make sure I say this very carefully. The single mama struggle. All right. And what I mean by that is it's hard out here. So let me go get a master's degree. It's hard out here. I need to go make some money. I thank God I had a village of people that supported my walk. I had men in my family that, took my son under their wing. I made it my business for him not to just be around me. I made it my business for my son to be around men without me present, so that if there's something that he wanted to share, if there's something that he wanted to divulge, if there's something that he want to talk about, then it's not just mama. I even encourage, therapy at a young age, and I would leave the room. I don't need to know what y'all talking about. Talk to that man on whatever man things that you need to talk about. But I made sure that I also didn't make my son my world. Now, I had to do that because now he's a rising senior. He's about to get ready to go to college. And while it's hard, I'm not falling apart per se, because I am my morning coffee. I serve in ministry. I still write books. I still host conferences. I did not put all of everything into my son. And I'll say this and I'll end. Well, I'll be done. But what I did do is I enabled him enough and supported him to let him know that he himself needs his own life. So everything doesn't revolve around mama. Because when you get married, your wife is your priority, not me. And so I have to make sure that I keep myself in check so that I'm not creating issues within his household or his marriage, because he's my only child and it's always been me and him. And it's going to always be me and him. Y'all seen them. That's ignorant. No.
Almost married one. God said no.
No. My son has a life outside of me.
Yeah.
And that was intentional. And not everybody has, that village that encourages that, or whatever the case may be. But I would also very much encourage anybody watching this to get you a community, a positive community. It's just like, I'm sorry, I know I said I was going to be done, but
you're right.
It's just like what grinds my gears is how people treat their pastors like your daddy, your mama, your man, your husband, your wife. That is not you. Did you not come to that church with community? And y'all trying to pin the man of God and the woman of God on a cross because they didn't come check on you in the hospital? What? Who were you calling before you joined that church? Or who are you leaning on outside of this one person? It is unfair to put so much responsibility on one person in your life. That is so disrespectful.
Yeah.
Well, I hope I answered your question.
You did. You did. I just let you talk.
I'm gonna get off my horse now.
No, I mean, and because you are a single mom, right? And you're raising a son, young man. So, hey, Natasha, Minister Pam, Olivia, those coming in, thank you. Be sure to like, comment, and share. One of the things. Ooh.
Listen, I look up the Minister Pam.
Don't make me send you a link and hop on this podcast.
Did you hear me? Come on in here, Minister. When I tell you I love me some her, I respect her, I honor her.
Yes,
I watch her and her husband, and it's beautiful how they serve in ministry.
Yes. Right now, she like this. Oh,
I can talk about them all day. Them Dixons, I love me some Dixons.
Now she let her head. She's like, oh, girl.
So humble.
I love them. The Dixons, period.
Yes.
Yeah. See, this is strike 2. You got me off track again.
All right.
It's all good, but that's, when you come here, that's what we do. But actually reeling it back in, this is hard, right? This is a hard topic because a lot of times moms don't want to hear this, right? and there can be offense, and we have to really have these hard conversations because sometimes you don't realize it until someone says it, right?
Right.
And we want healthy, whole conversations, communities, but we have to have sometimes those talks, those interventions, right? And this is one of those moments to kind of reel it in and say, "Hey, mom, are you really preparing your son for life, relationship, community?" And maybe kind of look at some of those behaviors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so as we pull things back around, one of the last things I want to ask you, because we started out talking about the responsibility of those that are mental health professionals as far as having a license, vetting your therapist, and then we got deeper into the spaces that should be created for young sons, boyfriends, husbands. So for those that are married and navigating those spaces where ebbs and flows in communication, right? How do you navigate when schedules are crazy? He may be working different hours. Maybe what you're doing has you working different hours. What can you say for those that are married, since you are our mental health licensed professional here,
License, y'all.
for the wives in the marriage, for their husbands, navigating some of those hard conversations where you're not weaponizing or creating a trigger, but saying, "Hey, this is not a warm fuzzy, but we need to talk about this."
I think it's important to set culture within your marriage. Let me start there. If you set a culture within your marriage of addressing issues and having hard conversations, then you won't be caught off guard when it's time to have hard conversations, right? I would hope and pray that you're not marrying someone that you have not had a hard conversation with, or you have not had some sort of disagreement or argument with. It's important to see how people respond to confrontation, how people respond to criticism, how people respond to some of your flaws before you get married. Take whatever time you need to assess that. Now, granted, life will bring things out of you once you're married. Okay. You're gonna hit some life patches that you weren't ready for, unexpected things, right? I think it's important, again, to set a precedence in your house on how are we know hard times are going to come. It's almost like Christmas come every year. Y'all know it come every year. But yeah, here we are scrambling on December 24th, looking for presents for people. Let's not do that. The same way that husbands and wives have these crazy schedules, that had to be placed on your schedule, correct? You had to say yes to that crazy schedule. So everything that's on it, you had to say yes to. And so you prioritized whatever it was that came through that solicited permission. Oh, that's good. I'm glad this is recorded. But solicited permission to go on your calendar, right? The same way you show up to work every day, that if you don't show up, they're going to send somebody looking for you. You and your spouse need to show up for each other in that same way. Meaning, I don't care if it's weekly. I don't care if it's monthly. However often you feel like it's necessary, there needs to be check-ins, meetings, actual meetings. Like you come into the meeting with your notebook, your pen, your phone, your notes. Babe, I love you. Let's go ahead and pray. All right. Amen. On June 4th, you did this thing that I really didn't like. And that has become a pattern. Now, it's not a bashing session. We need to address some things that if this marriage is going to work, we got to have meetings. You check in with your boss and do evaluations. Why wouldn't you check in with your spouse and do some assessment, right? Now, that's going to be the beautiful part about marrying a therapist, hubby, future hubby. I love you. I see you. But the beautiful part about marrying a therapist.
Just invite me. I got to see this.
is you have to create that space.
Yes.
So I don't care how crazy your schedule is. You have to be very intentional. The same way that we have to be intentional about scheduling our time with the Lord and scheduling our time. Like, and again, I go back to using the work and the job for reference because that's what most people can identify with.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're scheduled from 9 to 5, okay, and you know that people are watching you, you got haters at work or whatever, the same thing goes for your marriage. Schedule the time and protect it. Meaning, if the boys be like, hey, yo, you want to da-da-da-da-da, can't
I have a board meeting on Tuesday.
I got a board meeting with my wife. So we can talk about finances. So we can talk about hard conversations. So we can talk about what you did this month that I just totally didn't like. Or, and let me say this, babe, I really loved it when you So don't just go in with all of the negative things. You want to talk about hard conversations? Let's leave these hard conversations with what he did right, what she did right, so we can get more of that. And then you address your problems. You address the hard issue. Easier said than done. But if both of you all have a clear understanding, like, hey, look, this is scheduled for this month, every month. This is what we do. We go away for the weekend. We leave on Friday. We come back on Sunday. Retreat every 1 weekend a month. I don't care how you do it, but do your check-ins so that you're not caught off guard, and be honest. Y'all listening to me?
No, you're listening. I'm like, no, you're right, because
I'm saying the people like,
yeah, but I'm listening to like an audience member, like, oh, that's good. and you were talking, Adelia, and it made me think maybe sometimes when you have the board meeting, don't do it at home. Go somewhere else and do that. So that's not a memory created in that space.
Yes.
Do it somewhere else.
That's so good, Camille.
Do it somewhere else.
Correct. So if it hits the fan, and it may, depending on what y'all got to talk about.
Yeah.
You have protected the sacredness of your home.
Yeah, do that somewhere else. And that's just me.
I like that. I love that.
Because I see myself as a future Atlanta resident. Maybe.
Welcome to Atlanta, Camille.
Atlanta, home of lemon pepper. Maybe, drive to Savannah for the weekend. Mm-hmm. And if it's, make it a 4-day weekend. Yeah. And you can talk in the car. Mm-hmm. You're driving for 3-4 hours. You can't go anywhere. You have to talk to me. And you might check in and be a little huffy, get your key, refresh, go to dinner. Maybe over dinner, you've had time to think about some things, but then you can also do some touristy things. Yes. So you have your bitter with your sweet. Yes. And then maybe you walk the beach and you have a conversation there and talk about it, and I'm just thinking, just because I'm the optimist, if you get there on Friday, by Saturday evening, and you should be holding hands by Sunday and coming back all smiles, right? Prayerfully, and leave it in Savannah, right? So
in Savannah, and if I can add to that, it's important to also keep wise counsel around you. Mm-hmm. So that way, if you have to navigate a difficult conversation that the both of you may just not have the capacity, then I think it's important to have maybe some older people that are married, that have been married, they have done this.
Seasoned, veterans.
Yes. Just a quick funny. I kind of don't want anybody at my wedding. That's why my side may be real little, because
I know my side's gonna be thin. I can tell you, I can count on my hands. You, Olivia, my god sister, and Jesus.
Because I don't want anybody there that's not going to be able to maturely hold myself and my spouse accountable to each other. Mm-hmm. Meaning, I'm the girl, I'm the one, I'm the sis that if you call me complaining about your husband, I'm gonna cut you off. Have you talked to him? Then sis, I think you need to go have a conversation with your husband, because you can't beat pillow talk. And so I'm not about to sit up here and develop all of these ideas and be mad at your husband.
Y'all made up and you mad.
You hear me? So
I can't stand your man. I love babe. He brought me Starbucks. You know, we're good now. Like,
you need a community of people that's gonna push you back to each other each and every time.
Mm-hmm. I think we should also get out of our head. I have some, we always have a couple homegirls that have this fantasy of what they think it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, sis, come out of the clouds, come back. And this is me. I feel like you should have marriage counseling. You take your car in for an oil change.
Hello.
You go to the doctor for your annual. You should be going to the dentist. My insurance allows me to go 4 times a year.
Mm-hmm.
But teeth cleaning, knock that plaque out of your mouth, like all the things we should be doing.
Yes.
But why are we not going in for relationship tune-in checkup?
Right.
We check in at Spirit and Truth. We have ministry maintenance tune-ups and tune-up Tuesdays, whatever. So, so it's like, why not do that in your marriage?
Yeah. I totally agree. You gotta make it matter. Mm-hmm. The part of the problem is that people don't make it matter. You keep going without that oil change. Speaking of which, I gotta get one. But anyway, you keep going without that oil change. And then you're gonna be mad because your transmission out, your engine out. But you're mad, but because it was a lack of maintenance that caused that issue. Not necessarily your spouse or who you're with. It was a lack of maintenance. Had you checked in a year ago, you would have known that resentment was settling in, right?
Mm. And I guess these are things you see it, as you being a licensed professional therapist in good standing with the state of Georgia, things that you see and experience on a daily basis. So to hear these things from you, it's really good to hear that, particularly when we are working to build open, healthy, and safe spaces for our men, whether if they're our friends, our brothers, our cousins, or our spouses. So that's really good. So as we begin to wrap things up, just one more thing.
Before we wrap up, what are your key takeaways from our conversation, and where can our listeners find you on social media?
Oh, that's cute. I like that. Another level. I would say one of our some of my key takeaways is definitely just allowing space for healthy mental health conversations. Do your research, make sure you vet, and just make sure that you're assessing even yourself to make sure, that you're the best person that you can be. I would like to leave. Can I read something and leave this with your audience? Is that okay?
Sure.
So I especially took away empowering and equipping Black men. Mm-hmm. So out of the book, Black Man, I'm Listening, one of the sections is your voice. And what I wrote was, Black man, your voice is a seed into the earth that takes root in the young kings under you, the young princesses that look up to you, and the queens that value your leadership. Your voice is the game changer. And I hear your voice when it brings order to a chaotic situation and a calm to the most violent of storms. I hear that your voice is the voice of reason and logic. I hear that your voice is the solution to the world's many problems. Black man, I'm listening to how quickly your voice calms troubled waves into still waters. I hear how your voice brought security and confidence to a very insecure place within your child. Where there was once a deficit, your voice brought confirmation and value. I hear how valuable your voice is and how it brings a bankrupt heart to an overflowing and continuous, endless well of love. I hear that your voice restores, affirms, and shifts the trajectory of a lost soul, a lost country, an orphaned spirit, an abandoned purpose. I'm listening to how your voice takes root and sprouts into strong and powerful generations. So part of what I want to leave with your audience is encourage the people around you, especially Black men. Remind them that they have something to say, because the world will try their best to silence them. The world will do enough beating of them and wearing them out. And so they need somebody just to tell them that they're doing a good job, even if they're not. Just, try to encourage somewhere along the way. And that's what I will leave with your audience. You can follow me at all platforms. I am on Morning Coffee, Inspired AJ on Instagram. And I am on Morning Coffee on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram as well.
Absolutely. And the month of July,
Yay!
it's around the corner.
Yes.
Like, don't you have a few things coming up in July? Like, I just feel like, I don't know. I mean, there's like a birthday, I think, and then some calendar things. Like, don't you have something scheduled? I don't know. I just feel it like all up and down this side. Like, I just
on that side, that's all on this side. So I am thrilled that yes, everybody, the secret is out. So my birthday is July 12th. I am excited about that. And I'm excited to celebrate. I don't know how just yet, but we'll see. But what I will say is that I also will be doing I Am a Morning Coffee series called To Have Known Her. And this is the story. I know some people are like, why didn't you do this in May? But the Lord pressed it upon my heart to do it in July. But these are stories of women that have already gone on to be with the Lord, and the legacy that they have left behind. What wisdom should we share? What is it to have known her that the world needs to know about? And so I'm honored to have Dr. Matisa will be a guest. I'm sorry, Elder Dr. Matisa will be a guest. First Lady Moore will be a guest. Pastor Kimberly Tolbert will be a guest. And I will be a guest on my own show. And guess who is interviewing me? Camille Essick from the Speak Her podcast. So we're doing a brand swap that day, and she will be interviewing me. And so I am so thrilled about this series. God really laid it on me, and He gave me everything, like in one like swell, like in one swoop. Who to bring on the show, how to make it, who to call on, like you. And so I am just absolutely thrilled about the month of July and that series.
Oh, thank you. I think it's going to be an amazing series. I cannot wait to not only be a part of it, but also to get glimpses of it as well. Just because your lineup, your scheduled guests, phenomenal, all heavyweights. And so I think that's going to be really, really good. So we look forward to seeing that. And y'all be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and follow Adelia across her streaming platforms. And stay tuned for that. If you haven't done so, do you have an email list?
I do. Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and drop that in the chat, and we'll put that on the screen. So those that would like to stay in the loop for that, if those events coming up, they can do so, because we definitely want people to support you on those episodes as well. And you all, if you haven't heard, I have music available on Tidal, and videos out right now on my YouTube channel, as well as podcast episodes like this one, streaming across all various platforms such as iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Pandora. And then whenever you're ready, Adelia, go ahead and drop that in the chat, and we'll put that on the lower third for you. And I think we lost her. But without further ado, we've had there she is. I think she's back.
Sorry, for some reason, my it wouldn't work for some reason. I don't know what happened, but
it's all good. If not, put it in and we can tag it later or drop it on the post from tonight's episode.
Okay.
And just tag me. Just do that and people will be able to see it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, I think we covered everything. This is a great episode. I hope everyone got something from it. You all be blessed, and we'll see you next week. Man, this is mid-June. Time is flying.
Going fast. Very fast.
Absolutely. I'll see y'all next next Tuesday, 8:00 Eastern Standard Time. My guest is Derek D. Ross. We're going to have a phenomenal conversation. So I'll see you all then. Be blessed, be safe, and good night.
Wow. What a conversation. I hope you got something from tonight's episode. If you missed tonight's convo, no worries. Just catch the replay on YouTube and be sure to like, share, and subscribe.
Keep the Speaker Podcast ad-free. Scan the QR code and buy me a coffee. Your support keeps us ad-free as we continue to bring you conversations impacting the community and the culture.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Speak Her podcast. Be sure to follow Camille on Instagram at camille.essick, Facebook at the Speak Her podcast, or www.camilleessick.com.
There's a vibe in your ear.